if you take here from our document 4, document 4 is the one yakazonotrigwa uko. Let's check. As a strategic investor, our aim is to help investors grow. Richard Management reached out to us to provide them with guidance on a new strategy it is considering. Richard started on business. The family has passion for cooking using quality nutrient-rich food. The operation started in a small kitchen in their family home of the owners, and later retail store in a popular retail shopping complex. It's them. This proved to be a success as customers conveniently stopped at the store to purchase meals on their way home. Richard accordingly opened additional retail stores, growing to 28 retail stores across Gauteng, the Western Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal. All cooking still takes place in centralized kitchen in Gauteng, from where frozen products are distributed to the retail stores. So here, this is our only retail stores. Due to the increase in demand for its frozen, Richard has suggested without having to incur high rentals in retail shopping complexes, as well as to supply areas where Richard does not currently have stores. This new strategy entails Richard partnering with an existing supermarket chain to sell its products within its stores in branded Richard freezers. Negotiations are ongoing with the supermarket chain. We may need to provide with some guidance on how to account for such arrangements. How do you account for such arrangements? So mukatotarisa vatopedza, that was the only trigger yabuda. So vakuti how to account. So chekutanga team apa ndiri kutoziva kuti this is an IFRS trigger ndizvoka. But how to account? Pane zvinhu zvavari kuburitsa apa team. Number one, vari kuti that we don't want to incur rentals. Meaning to say kuti isusu hatisi kuda kunorenda mamwe mashops. So toda kutsvaga either munhu agara aine shop, we partner with that person, or we are going to lease instead yekuti chi mukuona zvikuitika. So pavari kuti how to account apa team ndopa waifanwa as you are reading through research yako from this document 4 yaifanwa kukuti waifanwa kufunga kuti they might lease, it might trigger IFRS 15, IFRS 16. What else? It might trigger, since susu toda kuenda kuna an existing supermarket, saka which means tukugona kunosakupa the existing supermarket to sell on our behalf, by trigger IFRS 15 up. Then, or we can do a joint arrangement with someone agara aine shop. Why? Because let's mute our mic, please. Munenge mukini at this side. Let's mute our mic. We kunya sweeter. Feedback is serious. I don't know not Indiana can meet. Hello, team. Can we see that? Can we pick Kutipanzi account? Pabuda IFRS 16, Pabuda IFRS 15, Pabuda IFRS 11. Tukuzonere a research paid up. Not when you are doing your research team, research wide. I need you to do a research very wide. You have an appreciation, you have an understanding. Which route might they take? Why? But also, vakupa the context. They could ask, could due to increase demand, without having to incur high rentals in retail shopping complexes. So if we don't want to incur high rentals in retail shopping complexes, meaning to say that we're not going to open a new shop, but what can we do? Vavano is simplify further, as well as to supply where it does not currently have stores. So to supply where I do not have stores, but I don't want to incur high rentals in retail shopping complexes. So the new strategy in theory, Chafa partnering with an existing supermarket chain to sell its products within its stores in branded retail fast freezer. So ukatarisa team pana akuona here kuti ifree 16 inogona kutrigwa, ifree 15 inogona kutrigwa, then joint arrangement inogona kutrigwa. Hello. Let's discuss. Nasa sida kumanya toda kuti discuss. If you have any questions, feel free. Ndobva ndakusimplifyira ndoda kuti pari kubuda pre-release vane pre-release remangwana tisafese machallenges. Bvunzai. Azvinonzi kuseri kweguva hakuna muteuro team. Hai mahamboinzoshona iyo. Ndoda kuti usazoti mangwana ndakangovhuna. So, ndai researcher say, so this question team, all these possible, ndaifanira kupika all the standards anokona create a partnership. So team, subsidiary hazvisi kuita apa haisi kunyasobuda, but if free 16, but if free 16 pari tricky. So chekutanga taifanira kuziva kuti if we are renting, tikushandisa our own freezers. If we are using our own freezers, mushop meumwe munhu toisa our product. Saka chatiri kurenda chi? Hello, zvikumeka sense here team. What are we renting? Is it the freezers? No. Is it the space yekuisa our freezers? Atione zvavafanira kuunderstand up. Then on the day chinjira vokuti we are going to use my freezers a supermarket iyoyo. So if we are using my freezers a supermarket, tichiisa our own product, what are we leasing? Hello, maonere two different alternatives team. That either tichanesa my freezers edu, toisa my products in those freezers. What are we leasing? Then tichanesa my product. The exam. Hello, team. Tinokubatsirana. Tinokuavoida number one. Kuno researcha zvinhu zvisiri relevant. Nekuresearcha zvinhu zviri relevant. So, pavandiudza, how do we account for? Ngatotarisa up. So to account for, ndakutongoziva kuti ifree, which standards ada kuresearchwa on? Ndiri paifree 15, ndakutoziva kuti number one, leso it's out. Hapana leso apa because we are the ones who want to use someone. So ndiri kulesi side. Ndiri kulesi side, I need to understand what am I really listening. Ndizoka again team pandiri kuno researcher ndikuda kuno understand neku appreciate ifree 15. So when I want to understand ifree 16 team, teacher ndinoda ku understand. Let me quickly open the standards. Ndikuita nchibatsira ku researcher futhi. So let me quickly open questions team. Is courage in now? Team, without killing the information, kuti pawaka researcher watakaona here zvatsigwa na examiner. Cannot examiner always trigger inenge iri direct. mukaona musiri kupika madirect trigger havamboita zvekukubirira zvekukuigira trigger. So if I have picked kuti patrigger ifree 16 panapa, chekutanga team ndoda kugara ndabvisa zvinhu zvisiri necessary. It's not leso accounting. Why? Because we are the ones who need to rent either toda kunoisa mafreezers edu mushop. Then so chandefanira kuunderstanda chi ndoverenga sei ndoresearcha sei ifree 16 before the exam. Zvizvi zvandafanira kuverenga nekuunderstanda. So chekutanga, the first thing I needed to understand is this. That's the first thing I need to understand. Is there a list? So for me to appreciate whether there is a list, which means pandakaverenga ndichi researcher, ndaifanira kutanga kuuya paparachi 9 panapa ifree 16 kuti identifying a list. So kuti nditi pane list chekutanga ndozvandinoda kuzomirira on the information of the day. Pane zvinhu zvikutaurwa. A contract, number 1, conveys the right to control of what? Identified. So the first thing team chandaifanira kuno research ndega asandati zvazvichabvunzwa ndikuziva kuti nditi pane list number 1 pane contract, of which contract kazhinji unoudzwa kuti there is a contract. Number 2 ndikuda pane an identified asset. Ndizvoka, then do I control that identified asset? Control. Then next thing, for a period of time, and easy. Then after a period of time, I'm going to pay a consideration. Is no research. So, pawaita understanding for research or chiverenga team, you have to understand what constitutes a list. This one. Then that the papa team. So this one, then go gonna para 9 is. Then para 9 team inoverengwa together with B9. This party no vayapera. And this guy to batano batane B9. This one. Don't buy papo da kwenda ku list term. And this para 18. You don't do that about the list term. Is there a list panofano in a period of time? So the list term para 18 is read para 18 and 19 mostly to also improve an B37. Don't buy papo researcher. I need to understand and appreciate. Don't buy papo team. Another key thing, another important thing. This is do not understand that list term yapo. How do I measure? The initial measurement of a list. This is it's appreciation and what say. So my initial measurement of list, para 23 and 24. They don't do that about the right of use asset. This is then and the parity 26 and 27. They don't do that about the lease liability. Don't buy upon the subsequent measurement. This is how do I subsequently measure the right of use asset? That's my para 29. How do I subsequently measure the lease liability? This is those are in the para 36. Then if there is any reassessment of that same list, this is reassessment of a list, those are the Janobata para 39 to para 43. Mason, the peds are covering a list yangu before the exam. Data research yangu. Hello. But team, pandrikwenda initial measurement of a list liability. This is Parijinja, do not understand. Do not understand end up. Chegono chinombo the lease payment mugatarisa. Why? Because initial measurement of the lease liability, that's my para 26. Chinon the lease for commencement date, a lessee shall measure the lease liability at the present value of lease payment mugataris that are not paid at that date. Meaning to say, then anon para 27, yakunditi the lease payments include what constitute a lease payment. So the fixed payment, tinema variable lease payment, but that depend on an index. So those amounts expected to be. So for my payments, edu team, kune these two are Though I'm not the PMT, please, and this could decide the basic ifris, but you need it. Then top by papo, pane your amount to be payable under residual value guarantee. It's a payment, but though I'm not the future value. This is Todzika futi pane ma exercise option, payta ma payments of penalties. All these they constitute what we call my future value, but my payment. But my payments they exclude my variable payments which are not dependent on an index. So pakazoya information of the day apa. Same question on the information of the day. Chichavaita. Vaunza same list iroro. But chazongosiyana palis iwewe atikuda list rese vazokuti iwewe the current thing you chain of partner stores will not charge rent for the space and it will be entitled to a percentage of the sales revenue of products sold in their stores. My variable list payments so that are not dependent on an index. So the moment it does not depend on an index, it becomes a variable which is dependent on performance. The moment it's variable, not dependent on performance, is not included. It's not included as a list. I limited the definition of list payment. Saka iyoyo pandichazono zikane information panap. The return arrangement with so appears to be an arrangement where two parties, if we have a list, although not explicit a list as a list, the arrangement might contain a list in which a reserve arranged portion of the supermarket for a specified period of time in return for payment. So a contract for a specified period of time, but the challenge in there, it is variable, it's on 30% of the product sold. Your Ritafa is the lessee. So Paul the review. Is it true kuti panelist? Hello. Team, feel free to ask the questions. This is the kumberi. Taurainin. And at Kubata, you can show me through reaction. Hello. Silence any. Let's unmute team. Feel free to unmute. Wow. I can see reactions. All right. Let's don't know other sides. So, team maona ere au ndatora senya yangu kuva ku pre-release kwenda nayo ku information of the day. So 1 week riya ku research area. Those are what ungufanwa uchite. That's the assumption yekuti ndizvo waita. It's an assumption. Kuti ndizvo waita. But ndazvipika papi. Ndazvipika mu scenario. This is a direct trigger issue. Negotiations, we may need to provide with some guidance on how to account for such arrangements. How do we account for such arrangements? So I found all the options. A good even a partnership with someone. So far, either we are leasing, either it's a consignment. To go to the agent, the principal agent, system, or it's a joint arrangement, which might be a joint venture, or which might be a joint operation. So research young. Now research for pre-release team. My question: are we linking the pre-release information of the day now? And not going to fill out on the information of the day than research. Team tauraika. Mnondipopose energy. Itaiwo kuti ndowano energy. Let's discuss. Anyone? Just one or two. What do you think? Was my pre-release clear on what I should on or not? What do you think? One or two comments? Hello? Or anyone are kufunga otherwise? But they're gonna research zvakati. Team, we can't talk about a partnership tichitaura subsidiary. We can't talk about a partnership when we are dealing with an associate. So please, ukaona wakatofunga zva-associate, zve-subsidiary, it's not a partnership. Panenge pabhaizika. Aganitsvage vashoma vandinodherera. Eli, zviri kuite?
Hi, Sir Chris. Good evening.
Yeah, I
Chirukuita, I'm following.
Ora, chicha waipika iwo. Waona pandadzosa the pre-release party. What else chaunogona chawakafunga chaungangofunga nezvachako? Pavataura kuti I need you to account. In other standard.
Oh, not to embarrass myself, but
my
standards, ma'am.
All right. So please, my standard, understanding my standard team. Why not that is technical, but what is technical? You apply your technical to answer. So, if a papa team, so do we agree that this was a direct trigger? Do we agree this was a direct trigger? Kero. Azishoma zvamadhidza Kero. Was this a direct trigger or an indirect trigger? What do you think? I'm trying to pick others. Aubrey, what do you think? Was this a direct or an indirect trigger? Now we try to mangwana parubuda pre-release team one. This is a confusion. Elena.
Hi, Sir Chris.
Hi.
Good. I think it was a direct trigger.
But raizonyatsoburitsa here kuti vari kuda both IFRS 15, 16 ne-11. Elena, what do you think?
Ranga risiri kunyatsoburitsa zvaro, but from the word partnering, I think ndo direct wandokuona.
Handid.
Yeah.
So taida only ma standards anoburitsa anokwanisika kuitika the partnership. Ndizvo. So the partnership or the relationship between the two. So then pane the other side yati hatisikuda kubhadhara ma high rentals. So togona kuendesa in other shops. Toisa ma freezers edu if 16 yabuda ipapo. Anditika. Then but panzonzi we want to partner. So taigona ufunga kuti all right, tonoisa ma stores ma someone. But isusu we remain in what? The product is still ours. We may need to provide each other some guidance on how to account for such arrangement. So it was not one such arrangement, meaning to say but various possible partnership which can arise from this information provided. Pakumeka sense team. And so as you are carrying out your research, please handifuna kuti uende neresearch isina kusimba. Uye handifuna kuti tinonyora zvinhu zvisiri necessary, handiti? So let's gather everything. All right, so let's proceed. The next important thing chimwe chatrigwa ndoda kuti omanditorero ma-earphones tumwe twacho in my room. So the other important thing, team, so tikuti isusu payazouya pa-information of the day, mukatarisa atipa ma-various possible option. It can be this, it can be this, it can be this. But mukatarisa, team, usaverenge this information in isolation. Atanga antipa kuti contract inenge inechi mubabata up. The discussion focused on the following aspects of the intended strategic partnership between Richaofa and the National Food Retail Supermarket Chain. So please, all these things is those write out item conclusions ake option 1, option 2, and option 3. That's another key thing. Then team muvunzo wenu wati review. So mukatarisa apa part option 1 ane conclusion yaita, part option 2 ane conclusion yaita, part option 3 ane conclusion yakaita. So my next thing, team, taka identify here all the asks. This one ndaka kudzidzisa inezuro. So chinonzi coverage, team, ndakati waifano ku-identify kuti pane all 3 options should be addressed separately. IFRS 11 joint control, IFRS 16 identified assets ne variable payments tested, then IFRS 15 the consignment, control, transfer ne principal agent tested, then accounting entries, measurement direction addressed. Those things like kukavira chinonzi coverage. So tunakuona solution yedu. So solution, if we go to the specimen answer, ndichango nobata ye highly competent team. So ichi chirungu ichichi aininda itopinda ndinacho ini. Mukuchiona icho. Chekupindura kuzova kuti pari kuda response yechakati. So ndinenge ndine possible ma-specimen angu hamufayo ndinenge ndinawo. So chirungu icho chekutanga icho, I trust this email what as requested, I've provided a review of the accounting options and provided my feedback as attached below. So mukatarisa abata each option ona yekutanga team joint control. What was the conclusion yake? Argued arrangement strategic stores appears to be an arrangement where we have joint control over the freezers. Please, Aneza to conclude. Therefore, and Richaofa to work and make decisions in best interest, although it's 70-30, both parties together make decisions about relevant activities of Richaofa arrangement, namely space in the store, which freezers to use, advertising customer satisfaction. This therefore appears to be a joint G arrangement. In this regard, since no separate entity to be created, this is a joint G operation. Tinobatsirana pa depth paya ne coverage team. So chekutanga, is the conclusion correct? Do parukutotangira nyaya yedu. Is that conclusion correct, team? Meaning to say, ndikufana kutodzokera ku IFRS 11. IFRS 11 inotichi kuti zosvika pa the conclusion yekuti this is a joint operation. What would we have proved? Tikaenda ku IFRS 11. Zviri kumeka sense here. Zvekuti kana uchinzwisisa standard rako, for me personally, team, pandakaverenga this one, ndakapinda hangu ndisirina kumbonoita hangu joint arrangement. Handina kuiona, honestly.
but nekuti ndino understand my standards, how to use my standards. Ndakabva ndangoenda quickly bva ndavhura standard rangu iro. Ndakangonobvira what is a joint arrangement up. There's the following characteristics. Contractual arrangement. Ndizvoka, two or more parties have joint control. So kana uchigona kuverenga standard rako pavati joint control, ndobva ndatoenda kupara 7. Para 4 inobva yatondoendesa kupara 7. What's joint control? Is the contractual agreed sharing of control which exists when decisions about the relevant activity require unanimous consent of the parties sharing control. That's the approach yandakashandisa muexam, because andinamboiona ini ndakadhila neIFRIS 15 ndikadhila neIFRIS 16 ndo mastandards andakange ndakaona pandakaita pre-release. Hello team, tiri kubatika here. So apa paingoda for the purpose of coverage and depth, and this could have a deeper understanding of IFRIS 11. Already this is not from my basic understanding. This is not a joint arrangement. So, but paizongo dao kungoratidza okuti wakamboravawo standard. So mukatarisa, let's see the solution, the specimen solution team. The joint is agree sharing control about decisions that affect the relevant activities. Mukuzona, angonobata up. If standard up, about up. This part decided on the price. I don't prove are they contractually agreeing. This is Richard decided on the price. And when promotions run, these are the relevant activities relating to the inventory. The partner store does not have ability to decide on the relevant. That's Richard his power. Reviewer. Pane the review part. Pane the American make a sense. So this is not a joint control. It's not a joint arrangement. Why? Ndakuita chino chinonzi application. Chinonzi application ndakudzoka pa information of the day. Vandiudza zviri kuitwa na each party apa. What each party is going to do mu partnership. Mukonere chinonzi application team. Tukuburita depth. Hello? So chinonzi coverage. Kungovaudza kuti aya mukuti joint control indikuona hizi joint control. Nekuda kwekuti ma relevant activities. Then chinonzi depth ndakuita chinonzi application. The reason we are make a decision inventory, ema promotions, ema advertise, ndiri chaofa ega, who is not involved. Ya application, ya depth now. You can show me through reactions team kana mabata. Ndizoti ndikutaura nevantu kuti tiri kutaurira. Thank you. I can see those possible feedbacks. So team, but mukonera pana pakotwa kunzi para 7, para 4. But ndataura the standard. Ndaitaura na someone achinditi ndainzi ukuita ma IAC kind of responses. So mukonere team, andina ndandotonotaura the paragraph, but ndangonoi apply. Mukupapata. So ndikubva from NAC, IAC answering style. Then furthermore, Richard is exposed to variable returns, which are revenue, sales. This is based on the number of inventory items sold. Richard can impact this by running promotions through the use of its power. So the relevant activities do not require unanimous consent of both Richard and the partner store, but only that Richard. I'm reviewing. Crash at the conclusion. This is a joint arrangement. Therefore, so what constitutes a joint arrangement? Para 11 pana. And that is part shall assess whether gives all parties a group control of the arrangement collectively, or the parties of the group control collectively when they must act together to direct the activities. Ndikutaura para 7, ndikutaura para 8, but ndisina kutaura kuti ndiri para 7 or para 8. Hello. Happy days team. Handisi kuita zvakawanda, ndichazoita in detail team. But if you just apply this, it's easier to pass APT. And so you need to appreciate and understand the basics. You need the basics team. Avatombodi noda zvamunonyora nhoroondo dzese dzamunonyora dzi havatombodi nhoroondo. Go straight to the point. So apa ndiri kureviewa. Don't forget my asks angu aya. Paya pakanzi review. If you still remember. Paizova nema ask angu andakakuratidzai. Assisted with the accounting implications of such arrangement. And of the potential options of accounting treatment, review it and provide me with feedback that I can use to inform Richaufa on the accounting of the proposed arrangement. Please advise with the reasons on the appropriateness of each accounting treatment. So can you see this is not a joint arrangement? But in the show apply a joint arrangement. Pama decision on relevant activities. I ask you to power to make these decisions. The Richaufa, not the other part. Saka chandu prove kuti easy joint operation as you have concluded pana. Mukubabata tukukrasha I. So I'm reviewing kuti it's not a joint arrangement as per your conclusion. Happy days. Timrukaska uzopedza ndineka kachikosoro kari kunetsa saka ndikanyanyozotitaurisa. Hi, courage. Is courage in now? I think it's not in. Akatibatwe in basa. Ambotaura naye hangu. So, those are some of the key things as you were going through. Then mukatarisa ndinongo kuratidzai kuti so mukatarisa therefore there is no joint control exists. And Richaufa should not account for this arrangement as a joint operation, as this would not comply with IFRS. Therefore, this accounting treatment is incorrect. Comments, team. Comments. Can you see writing up? Tawana writing up, team. Hello. Then I go to the next one. Team. I understand that to those who followed me, what constitutes a lease payment up. Research yako. The moment pawakaona up, pawakanyora kuti this will be a variable payment based on the number of products sold. Apa ndaibva ndatoconclude hapana lease. But here conclude that therefore this is a lease and you recognize a right of use asset, nearly liability. Saka ndoda unokrasha zvataura izvi. And ndikuzoti why? So ndoda kuburitsa why ndiri kuti haizi lease. Mukubabatira inyaya yevariability of the lease payments. Then two, account as a right of use and lease zvitori wrong. How do you crash it? I'm reviewing, which is part of my coverage. But option 2, the product will be displayed in specific areas of the store, which means identified asset repo. Team. That could decide up. That you need to prove a seko kuti pane lease. And is it? Pane contract. Pointer change identified asset. Pointer identified asset. Do we control that identified asset? Do pacha your B20 to B20 to B20 29. Then another issue on the identified asset. Does the supplier have substantive substitution rights? Zvinonobatwa B14. So pandaita research yangu ndo purpose ye5 days here. Ndizvo vari kufunga kuti wakabata. So ona saka ndakuconcluda ndikutovaudza kuti zvawataura handitange neungomuti zvawataura zviri wrong. Identified asset iripo in the branded freezers. The specific areas are not clearly stated. Furthermore, the layout of the stores usually changes, thus the store can easily substitute. So upon identified asset, the branded freezers can only be identified asset if owned by the retail supermarket stores and rented out to Richauf. Then Richauf bears the risk of inventory as they are responsible for disposing of goods that have exceeded the expired. Zviri pa information not apa pakanzi option 2 up. Zviri apa team pama terms of the strategic partnership. Pama terms of the strategic partnership up. Here we are given that information. So ndoyanda ungonoshandisa to critique. Therefore, furthermore, Richauf decided on the prices of the inventory and when promotions will be run. Therefore, they directed the use of the inventory tag, which means then furthermore, inventory items cannot be classified as lease. As lease is related to property, plant, and equipment, whereas inventory will be consumed. Therefore, it cannot be leased. There is a potential identified asset in store space, but that is substitutable. Therefore, this cannot constitute a lease. Then the accounting option is not appropriate. Moreover, no right of use asset and lease liability could be recognized as the lease payments are not linked to market index or rate, but rather to sales. Maonere kuti ndareviewer. Advisor. Hello? Can you see my coverage? Can you see my depth? Show me through reactions, team, please. Zvinopa lecturer energy. Muka respond. Thank you, Rukudzo. I can see. Others I can see. Thank you, Tenda. Thank you, Juliet. So, as you are going through, team, those things, it helps you to appreciate and understand and simplify your things. Don't you end up with option 3? Option 3, team. Yabe anondi trigger hangu chi ifreeze chi ifreeze inonzi chi 15. So ifreeze 15 principal agent. Don't prove say kuti pana principal agent relationship. Don't prove up. Should consider as it receives revenue from the product, so through the partners, in terms of this consignment arrangement, because why am I saying it's a consignment? So in the consignment team, all my risk and the rewards are no remain. I need the principal. The goods of Richauf are controlled until a specified event occurs, until they are sold. The goods are placed in the care of the supermarket. The supermarket does not have an obligation to pay for the product. Please, ndaisada vanhu vairasika vekuti aichinofocusa on conclusion kaitwa panapa aka. You were not only focusing on this conclusion, but you were supposed to go to the terms of the strategic partnership aya. Ndopandiri kuudzwa, Richauf will bear the risk of customer returning items. The partner store will provide the customers with a refund note, reason according, and exclude such sales from monthly reconciliation. The partner store will provide details of refund to Richauf. Both retail and will advertise the availability in the supermarket. But Mukatarisa anema risk indian is still Richauf ega. Because we are going to pay our returns. EHR kuda commission yake the 30%. Saka pakadzoswa ma refunds, ma returns arungo exclude from the revenue yake. Hello. So ndozvo vanga vachida kuti uchiburitsa pa discussion yako apa. So your discussion mukatasa ndo as the supermarket does not get ownership upon delivery, no pay for this, control is not passed at that point. Revenue is not recognized, but rather upon the sale to the customer. Therefore, it is incorrect to conclude control passes to the partner store. Then, to account for the consignment in terms of Richalfa needs to recognize the revenue upon the sale. When to determine ETC, Richalfa is primarily responsible for fulfilling the promise of delivery. Then Richalfa holds the inventory risk. Richalfa holds the discretion of establishing prices. Saka, because of all these things, team, therefore Richalfa will be acting as the principal and the retail store as agent. As the principal, it shall recognize a revenue 100%, but in an expense a commission 30%, which is the most appropriate option. We should also make the following clear to Richalfa. Remember, one advise. Hello. Then in conclusion, option 3 is the most appropriate for the reason. Let me know if you have any questions. Ndapedza. I sign out. HC Yabud. Hello. Wow, I can see positive responses. Wow. So, Tim, that's what was expected from you. So, Chinonzi who answer, understand, identify all the asks. So, Chinonzi coverage could respond to each and every aspect. But my worry, yanga iri yekuti, pawakapiwa pre-release up, ndaka identify here. Inini personally, when I did this, honestly, I freeze 11 and now we own. Ndakazongobatsirwa nekuti ndino understand my standard mu exam. Ndagara angopa clean the lecture. Saka ndo zvakandibatsira, but I freeze 11. Exam. So please make sure you understand, you identify everything triggered. Then if you are in the exam team, be flexible, especially zvinhu accounting or zvinhu tax, zvinema standards team. If the West comes to the West, mu 8 hours mako unokwanisa kuvhura standard. Hello? If the West comes to the West. But already the conclusion from your basic understanding, your CTA background, the conclusion, this is not a joint arrangement, but kari specific and relevant. So sometimes, team, if the West comes to the West, my exam, our standard, ukasangana standard team, let me show you something. Let me just use kind of basic. IE is 40. And it standard rega, if the West comes to the West. This oga, ndikauya pa index pana, cannot ku first page kuno. Every standard team, except a few standards, always rene classification. Standard rese notangani classification. Renda ku recognition, renda ku initial measurement, renda ku subsequent measurement. Everything is really up. And then render ku presentation and disclosure. So zvinhu zvese zviri pa subsequent measurement izvo. Mukubabata team. So every standard rine classification, rine recognition, rine initial measurement. Ndio iyo yakanzi measurement at recognition. In a subsequent measurement, which is your measurement after recognition, then rine presentation and disclosure. Because if the West comes to the West, hello, if push comes to shove, that's how you can go through your standard. Parukubatika. That's it, and why it's an open book team. Panoto make sure kuti ungaremererwe mahara kupinda nemazi standards aye. If the West comes to the West, that's how you use your standard. And it but ndikuti mostly at APC handiwanzotarisira kuti uvhure standard. Research yako should be sufficient to answer anything. Mastandard atotrigwa auri kutoda usiri sure unotogara watoprinda mapeji acho. Amena hazviri kumeka sense. Ndikuti unozoita as a last resort. For example, ndatinini IFRIS 11 IFRIS 15 ndayandakai researcher, the 16 ndayandakai research, but handisina kumbo researcher kuti ingangoenda ku IFRIS 11 mukupa bate here team. But my basic CTA yaingondibatsira to make a conclusion. Izvi it's not sufficient kuti titi pane joint arrangement. But if the West comes to the West, I was supposed to quickly open my IFRIS 11. Ndotongonopika what's a joint arrangement? Joint arrangement where the two parties have joint control. Ndobva ndatonobata pe joint control up. Ndizvoka ndobva ndoenda pa types of joint arrangement. Pane zvinenge zvakatonyorwa in board. Ndotoona inonzi joint operation yakamira sei. Izvo yobva yadefine up. Ndobva ndatoona zvavari kutaura hazviziri izvezvo. Maona here team ndisina kumboenda kumberi nestandard. Apart from that, understand the rest in detail. So, muchaona kuti mastandard ese by nature. Mukatasa, for example, the IAS 40 andatokuvhurira. Pavanoisa chinhu chiriki chinotobhodhwa. Havakubirire. For example, classification, mukatotasa, it's in board. Mukatodzika nayo standard zenyu. As long pasati pazonzi recognition, ichiri classification, recognition, it's in board. Good in case ukatenda initial measurement, it's in board. Mukatotarisa, and what keeper measurement and on shall be measured at its cost. Transaction cost shall be included, it will be in board. Mukatenda parenthetical vanenge subsequent measurement. Again, the measurement after the policy, it's in board. Hello, ndoda kubatsira vamwe vanoti unozowana nguva time yekuverenga standard muexam. Standard ese zvaro zvakatoitwa in board, it's deliberate for you to easily find and identify information. Ndiri kumeka sense here team. I hope I'm not confusing others now. So it's in board. You can easily go through. Even if it comes to text issues, I go to the index. It's easier again. So if anything chazotrigwa chandanga ndisina kuresearcha, dopano, then team, another thing. Pane issue yema inonziji ndinzwei apa APT apa chinogona kusauya pachinowanzouya. If the West comes to the West, ndizoka unofanwa wakugona kuvhura standard within your research pack yako team. Kune zvimwe zvauchangoisawo team. Your wider imaginations, please, chingozozvi-include. Wonyazoziva kuti this is my final. But kune zvinhu zvandakangofilawo kuti zvingangouya mumain research. So I include them. Mapabate here. But the file rako harifanirwi kutombokura. Ona file rako rakurisisa. It means mune zvinhu zvisina basa zvakati wandei. Arula size yavanotokudza iya yakatokurisa team. Parifanirwi kutombokurisa kusvika ikoko. All right, let's proceed. All right, so that was the first part. So let me now do another. I think takagumira yesterday, takagumira papi team. Confirm takagumira pasi pana. right. Next one, respond to Zeria's January email regarding 2 proposals received by Villa Float from Silver Spoon. Let's go to document D. So chekutanga team. Todango finalize or tiwirirano kuti tabate recoverage. Parunzichi. The CEO of Villa Float forwarded 2 possible proposals he received from CEO of Silver Spoons to me. Refer to the attachment to this email. Villa Float is requested to consider these 2 options. Number 1, the forecast Silver Spoons presented looks attractive, but I don't know if this would help us achieve our performance incentive target. Please, as this is my key focus. Pane muvhunzo here apo kana kuti hapana? Toda kubatsirana. Chinonzi coverage. Pane zvaari kutaurira. Is there anything I should be worried about? Hello? Pane zvaataura. So chekutanga. Hello?
Ona zvotaura Simplified.
And but asi ari kuzoti, as you shall be waiting your solution, inofanirwa kuzodzoka ku my key focus. Ndizvo here. We will be able to achieve our performance incentive target. So in why please review the 2 proposals. So pana review the 2 proposals. So ku review kuita say ku review team wapiwa zvakaitwa na someone. Urikutiudza what was done wrong and you have to explain why it's wrong. Hello? So wedding a review. Please, a good example. Let's say it include the depreciation. Depreciation in the calculation yema free cash flow. Cannot ye investment appraisal. Depreciation is a non-cash item, confirm. So if you are wedding a review, uchatangwa to that it is inappropriate or it's incorrect that depreciation has been included in the NPV or in the free cash flow calculation. That's the first part per review. Then the other part, why are you saying it's incorrect? Ndofanirwa kuzoenda further to explain that depreciation is a non-cash item. Therefore, it's not a cash inflow or it should not have been included. Mukupabate repa review team. So review bring out 2 things. What was done wrong and why it is wrong. What was done wrong and why do you say it's wrong? Why is it wrong? So bring out 2 alternatives. Team. Then team others vasina kuona session ya Nezuro, please, it's on YouTube. Ndaisa pa YouTube. And it pane vaiona. You can show me through reactions. Pane vaiona. I can see. Vamwe vaiona. Yesterday session yanga ichinetsero. Ndanga ndanzwa ku inbox. So I was telling one, no, ndoipapa nema students angu andinobatsira ndagara ndobatsira APC. Vanhu vangu I tipewo recording ngati no. So ndazongo decide kuisa pa YouTube. Fine, ndaisa pa YouTube. Please, Chris Munodawafa on YouTube. It's there. So, what was key here, team? So review 2 proposals and respond by email for my attention only, covering the following. Number 1, which of the options is the most financially attractive when compared to the current EBITDA of Villa Float? Provide your calculations. Please, Pikama ask us. Then what further key information should the CEO of Villa request regarding both options in order to evaluate which option to pursue? So chekutanga team. Kuti ndinzi ndagona chekutanga. Number 1. Ndikufanwa kucalculate the financial attractiveness of option 1. Mukupabatere. Don't calculate the financial attractiveness of option 2. Ndapedza izvozvo compare both options. with the current villa float ebitida toda kubatsirana ma-asks. Then ndabva ipapo I should identify information needed for both options. Another thing, avoid being distracted by various personal incentives. Focus. Ndabatika team. Maonere ma-asks anga achidiwa up. Tati, we agreed we need to make sure that everyone is now well versed what coverage entail, what depth. So for you to appreciate coverage, to appreciate depth, have you identified all the asks in this scenario? The bigger all the asks. So chekutanga up. Not we run team. The focus presented look at but I don't know if this would help us achieve our performance incentive target, as this is my key focus. So key focus, it's personal bonus yake ka incentive kake kasine in a business. So that's why you should need to identify the asks. So my asks angu chekutanga. Number one, I should calculate the financial attractiveness of option one, which is the JV. Then I calculate the financial attractiveness of option two, which is the lease. Then I should compare both options with the current villa float ebitida, because pani ebitida tapio. Don't by pap, I identify information needed for both options. Then I should avoid being distracted by the real personal incentive focus. So coverage, change coverage, both options, and calculate current EBITDA baseline, you adjust for lost EBITDA, etc. Pavanema opportunity cost up. One-off items separated from recurring EBITDA. My once-off items to separate from recurring EBITDA. Missing data requested again. Pani missing that for both options. Then governance, ne conflict, red flags noted were relevant. So Panama governance issues up. Mkachizodzika nema options are. Mkona. Then your option G2. Leasing. So all these things, team, that's how I was supposed to respond. Kutindiwane mamax. So change and F1 put it up at depth now. I was supposed to recalculate using my incremental EBITDA, not just silver spoons headline forecast. Then for joint venture, you start with the villa float 50% share. To deduct or to consider my lost existing food and beverage profit ya trukuluza, koma retrenchment ya chaitika, ma accommodation arpitika, ma discount, no rent issues, admin support, conflict, yema shareholders, yema directors, police, do not tolerate everything. Don't consider request contract duration. How about escalation termination? My exclusivity rights, capex ownership, staff obligations, VAT, my service level, my brand risk, data. Don't conclude on my recurring value, impact on claimant, all those things. I was picking them directly from these options. Hello. Parkumeka sense team. So that's how Paunon's waiter coverage ne depth. So what should be included mu coverage? Chinofanwa chiri mu depth. So here let me just go through, but aizonya so bude zvandiri kuda D part. Rungoda ye highly competent, vema limited competent, and this kuda kunoita competent. So mukatarisa ari kunocalculate mukuponera option 1 obva aita option G2 ndizvoka. Then both option exceed what further information. So pane chinhu chaigona kumiswa nevanhu team. Mukatarisa apa paakuvhunza apa anangotaura zvecalculation. Which of the options is most financially attractive when compared to the current EBITDA? Provide your calculations. Then pozonzi what further key information should the CEO request regarding both options in order to evaluate which options to pursue? Mapabadere team. And remember yesterday, that you should cover both the financial and the non-financial. So mukatarisa team, vazhinji vaigonongonoperera kucalculation uku. Unongonorova chicalculations. Patika panzi apa. So ukarova apa team. Wobva wasiya the other question, the other ask. Yekuti, what further key information should the CEO request regarding both options? Hauna zvawapindura. Saka mukoni, tonorova the other part. What other information? Zvikumeka sense here team. Hello. I think I saw Courage is in now. Hi, Courage.
Yes, Sir Chris, I'm in. Thank you very
I'm
much.
fine.
You are exploring these things, eh? Eh, That's a good one. I hope the team is understanding these things. Sometimes I get worried, these people are too quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You,
they are too quiet.
it's like they
Honestly.
are beginning to learn.
Yeah. Chandakutocha Courage. Kuti vanhu vari kunyasofila kuti saka patakadzidza pese apa zvinhu izvi tanga tinombozvinzwa izvi ndizvo handiri kuto. That's my
Where was
concern.
this information?
Tiri kuita ngokuvapa new information. Hi, Aubrey.
It's actually new information.
Wow,
Saka
I think
don't fear yangu, but please don't be afraid. Zvandatokuudzai izvi wakutoziva kuti uchivhura how do I research? Confirm tanzwisisa now kuti ndo researcher sei. Ndizvoka. Ma asks angu when I'm doing my research. Ndizvoka. Then 2, team, on the information of the day, just pick all the asks, identify all the asks. Chat, even ukanyora mbijana, but kungoona kuti wazvinzwisisa kuti panzi calculate, ndo calculate akaizvo. But pobva pazonzi and further, ndo pamafurther aya. Ndatopindura. Ndatone coverage nedepth. Hello, mapabate here team. So ndikuti kazhinji, even ukawafula uchinyora, but usazonyanya wafula, please. Tsvagopo unonyazobata. Pekunyazoziva kuti apa ndanyazonyora chaizvo. But please pick all the asks. Risk handisiri kuda, yandoda kutanga kuavoida pekutanga. Kungopika all the asks. Hi, Aubrey.
Yeah. So Chris, I wanted to confirm with you, let's say you ask essay that's coverage and coverage kana uirova zvakanaka inogona kuyambutsa here.
Coverage inozoda kaudepth kacho. So everything chawapika chizoita chinonzi application. I think waonzwa zvandaita the first question. Waona zvandaita pandakuratidza the first question yemalisi. Waona zvananchita joint control. Izoburitsa kadepth kaya kananda kuita the application linking to what is on the information of the day and the knowledge of that particular subject area.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
So kazhinji coverage inokubatsira kuti ubve ku-LC ku-NC waku-BC ndizvoka. Then depth now ndo yakukupinza mu-C and HC. but coverage inowanzoita kuti utambire mu-BC. But kuti uchipinde mu-C takuda the depth. Happy days. So team, those were the main questions. So ndikuti nhasi ndakubvirai ku-pre-release. Mazvoni kuti your pre-release team pari kubuda pre-release yesterday, I think it's yesterday or day before yesterday, takati team, please give yourself time, understand that the pre-release in and out. Ukunzwisisa zvekutoti kana makuchida kudiscussa paya segrupu renyu unenge wakutonyasonzwisa kuti izvi zvirikutaurika ndambozviona izvi ndizoka pamwe zvinogona zvazotaura kudocument 5 vanhu ngavatozokutsura kuti aiwa tichiri kudocument A. One, understanding the appreciation of the pre-release. Saka ndaiti inini verenga like a novel pekutotanga kuti ndimunzwe senyaya zvizvi kungoitika vaidaiso vaizotenga zvakati vaizoita zvakati, they were doing ABCD, after that they do ABCD etc. Then ndozochiri verenga for the second time, I'm now identifying ndakuri verenga on the technical side. I now want to identify the triggers, the issues, etc. And another key thing, team, courage on this one. One thing which is certain, avambokubirire kana iri accounting vanotokuti the accounting, kana iri taxation issues vanoti the taxation issues. Hello, courage, you can come through on that one. Vanyasopanzwisisa vasazomhaisana nematrigger asiriyo.
Yeah. You know, my trigger avanyangire. Okay, truth be told, let's understand one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Scenario yawapiwa handitika, it's particular to a company, and it's imagine kuti CFO ari kukudza zvinhu zvavari kusangana nazvo, handitika, things which the company is facing. They will not beat around the bush. It's if it's issue, it's a taxation issue, it's an audit issue, internal audit issue of some sort. So you just know that your superior, they won't be beating around the bush. It's straightforward. That's a technical, probably if it's issue, you require this and it. So just because that no, and know these case studies, don't treat these as the exams. Some of you have got a phobia, my approach of and all sorts of things. Treat this as a company where you are adding value to your company, and that will help you to treat yourself as a professional, not as a student. The moment you start to think in the bracket of a student, you are thinking of passing the exam. This is more than just an exam. You need to know what are the problems which the company is facing and how do you add value. And these things come plainly. Of course, there are other things that will need more information from the scenario, but they will not beat around or hide anything from you. I hope probably it helps someone.
Thank you, Gary. So please, ku APC atite zvekunyangirana. Chingangozosiyana kuti pamwe vaikuti the accounting treatment inogona kunzi akareviewa majournal entry akatoita, or vaikuti da kuti ureview wozokuti prepare. That's the only difference. So to put as you are studying, team, kana ndapika kuti maybe it's IFRS 16 yatrigwa. Team, my assumption nganditi vachagona kunza iri discussion, vachagona kuuya iri majournals, vachagona kundiunza iri review yemajournal aitwa. Chavangokupa vari kuti trigger yedu it's IFRS 16. You will just know IFRS 16 in and out. Whether vazovunza iri journal, vavunza iri discussion, vavunza iri review, vavunza whatever about IFRS 16, you need to understand it in and out. Chet.
Yeah. Just to add deeper for Chris. Technical. is not going to be substituted, and you need to know your things as is, not so you need to have your technical in the fingertips, and such that my decisions are and whatever, everything is going to be contributing to the board or whatever platform you are going to contribute to. It's coming from embedded knowledge that you have accumulated. So be technically accurate and correct. And then know how to package it, how to, depending on your audience. And your audience can be board of directors who are non-accountants. Obviously, you need to simplify things, but that will not take away the issue that your technical should be a default. You need your technical to be very accurate, like a CTA student. Then also was when to package, when is deep if it's needed, when is light if it's needed. But that will not substitute your technical knowledge that you have accumulated. So this speaks to your IFRS, your math, your audit, your tax, your ethics. You have your technical as solid as possible.
And thanks, courage on that. Then team, Tarsai, another one here. I will need your assistance in analyzing the Broom acquisition opportunity on behalf of COSIA. You may also need to provide input on selected income tax matters. Maona matriga pane MAF acquisition opportunity, then pane income tax. So apa trigger yangu havabirire team, but iwo chingodhila everything chavakupa up kuti in case I know this question payakazouya, I think yakazoya ya review ye, let me just cross check payakazoya on the day yeva ya response email operational finance high level Broom and income regarding high level valuation yakazoya valuation ne the income tax consideration. Mukuzviona kuti havatombokubirire high level valuation of Broom finance and the income tax consideration. But mukatarisa pre-release the acquisition opportunity izvoka toda kuacquire something, which means for us to acquire someone parudiwa valuation. Mukuzviona here vatotrigger valuation. For you to acquire someone, you need to understand what's the value so that I pay the appropriate price, evaluation. Saka iwo wega ifanira kutongonorova valuation yako free cash flow. Wakuziva here inonzi ma earnings based method ese in detail pauri kuita research yako. Then wobva ipapo wobva waenda ku income tax implications of the issues. So guideline yangu iri pazvavatondipa apa pa business model yavandipa apa ndo pari kundipa the guideline. So mukatarisa team kazhinji zvavati vachazoibvunza sei. So like it's now miraiton that's miraimone pa zvavakanoita courage vaitoda havo. Vaida havo vanhu ivava ndizvo ona zvayakaita. Issues regarding his draft valuation. The CFO of Broom Finance has emailed his high-level proposed valuation of the company for the purpose of negotiation between the parties regarding potential investment through subscription of new shares. I have attached his high-level proposed valuation to this email. Courage, first mark yangu, first depth yangu. Ndabva ndatongopika kuti prepare the finance manager wecompany yatinoda kutenga. Ndo first high-level mark yangu.
Highly competent.
Objective. Ari objective here. Night team. Munhu wandoda kutenga ozvivaluwa kuti ndiri worth 20,000. Hello. So hazviite haziri aifanirwa akaprepare. Wari yangu yakatotanga kumunhu who prepared the valuation. Courage. Ndisandaenda kuti
He was biased, that
He
person,
was
you know, but
biased.
it takes a step back. It was not right.
Tim
What
mukuone
do
here
we,
tumwe
what,
tunhu waufanirwa
what?
kupika. But concept iyi ndakaitora kupi courage. Let me surprise you, Tim. Ndakaitora from a past IAC paper. Let me show you this. There was a question like this. Let me show you. I think it was a past IAC paper. It was on this paper courage. Beauty-ish. Required equation perform evaluation. Kubva vati vapedza yakanga yakaitwa nafinance manage. Ndizvoka kubva vati criticize the free cash flow valuation performed by the finance manager. Uone recarage kwandiri kubva neinformation. Then kubva ndaona pasolution when I was still an IAC student pakacriticizwa kubva pabva panzi issue. One of the issues pandatoipick up mira yekuti who prepared ndipo ndakaipikira ibaba kuti who projected. So some of the things, Tim, it's coming from your prior knowledge. Upon up. Ndakatanga first high level mark yangu yaiva up. Inappropriate use of an internal person to perform the valuation. It will be unlikely to be accepted by the buyer, who would require an objective and independent valuation advisors. Hello? Tim, you can come through courage.
How did you find this thing and remember, man? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Tim, so some of the things, so inimba akatongonyora izvi ndaku APC courage. Ndakatobva ndatozoti ndatone HC yangu 1 point. And it's a straight HC point. Mukubabate here, Tim. So kune tuma basics, Tim. Remember, nezuro pandai kudzidzisai chinonzi coverage. Nedepth. Ndakakuudzai kuti kufocus on the stakeholders. Ndizvere. What are the implications, technical implications? And so the who prepared it, it becomes a worry for me, which becomes a HC indicator. Parumeka sense rating. Hello.
Say,
Then,
Chris, you know what? This prepare issue, it's everyone can pick it. It's so simple, you know, like, but I think people will be thinking that it's not a mark. You know, people are looking for deep technical points to raise when we have simple things like this. So I'm thinking, without rushing in the exam, right? Take a step back. Just analyze things from, you need to show your thought process and where things start from. Don't rush to the solution. Like simple things like analyzing who prepared. Is the person qualified enough? What are we trying to achieve? Can I rely on this information? You know, those kind of, that will help people ace this exam, because you know what? We don't need to rush to deep things. These are simple, but need to be included in your solution point.
And Okatozotarisa also courage. He explained that his DEC evaluation was prepared simply because he was taught at university to always at least use 2 different evaluation methods. He was adamant that the GCF method is not appropriate for Broom, where it was going through high growth phase. So, Tim, let me take you again. Kuma slides, when I was doing, I want to use Chiri neutral. So usually I use the Endunamo slides courage because they become neutral for both our service providers. So if I go here, Tim, from your basic understanding what is evaluation? Why start the team? Why understand that evaluation? Why do we even perform evaluation? This let me quickly show you. I want to show you quickly. If I open this module, remaf, not this part. I need this part. It's fine. Chekutanga. Team, not more than my basic principles. So paunkunzwaona patrigwa valuation team chekutanga ndaingoenda kuobjective. Why do we reasons for preparing evaluation? Why management will be interested in undertaking evaluation? Initial public offering here, acquisition or disposal here, part of achieving optimal structure here, share buybacks here, or my rights. That's number one. Why valuation in the first place? Then, if I take it further, when should I use earnings per share? When is earnings-based valuations appropriate? So, is the going to run down? Uchi revise. When should earnings-based be? When is it appropriate? So, paakutaura is zvaakutaura izvezvo waisaita any confusion, because was paakuti he was adamant that the DCF is not appropriate while it was going through high growth phase. Hello? Can we pick that team? So pawakapika iwewe kuti pari kudiwa ma-valuations pa-pre-release app, confirm tazvipika kuti padiwa valuation team. Hello? Your assistance in analyzing the acquisition opportunity, the income tax. So patons apa, there is not trigger my valuations. So per 5 days, dangu team, there is no ziva valuations in and out. And this was what vachafunza review here, vachafunza preparation here, no value here, vachafunza chi, ma inputs angu, what you know say, ma inputs ma different valuation. When do I use earnings per share? Earnings per share, ma PE, ma earnings per share. EPE here, earnings yield here. Anoshandi say, my maintainable profit times PE yani, ye proxy firm. Proxy firm yang dicha determine say, if free cash flow here, dicha vira pa no part, do adjust my movement in my changes in working capital, changes in capex. Do bandano zikama adjustment until vitakuza square kuya and include ma investment property etc. Oh, why should I not include APCD? I mean, I should make a sense. The why of valuation, they cannot understand the why of valuation. I mean, I should make a sense team. So team courage I always face challenge. So afanana pacha trigwa ma mergers and acquisitions. Patrigwa ma mergers and acquisition. Mun ata kuno safa ne kuno calculate kune inonzi exchange ratio. But that's not the point. It's not about the exchange ratio. What's important, team, if they trigger my mergers, I have to ask myself, why my mergers and acquisition? All right, you know, the merger and acquisition, it's another business. Come together in another business. Or it's one business which is acquiring another. So if that happens, there is a risk, and face a risk, the investor, this shareholder. So shareholder are worried about what? Inini kazhinji courage nobva todzosera vanhu kuna rundown. If I'm an investor, worry yangu iri pakuti chii? I want to invest in another entity. So if I want to invest in another entity, the shareholder, they are worried about panogona kuitika dilution of control. If there is dilution of control, achaenda papi. So my mergers and acquisition, simple terms, varungo kuti unoziva here investment ratio. That's what the investor is worried about. Chet.
Say, Chris.
Hello.
You know, it's interesting. how you are taking this back. I think people have got a tendency of thinking that these exams are too special. They are nothing. These are simple business transactions.
Yes.
It's simple. Treat it like you want to buy a phone. What do you place? Why are you selling a phone, and what's your objective? Then we go back to what? To the matrix.
Yes.
Simple like that. So we don't need to, you don't need to tell yourself that I'm now thinking. Just think. Such that you will not exaggerate these exams. They are very simple. Very simple. Start from the why. Understand
Yes.
why certain things are there. And
Yes.
then you will see that life is easy. These exams are simple. Don't overcomplicate them.
Yes. So the why. You need to understand the why, Tim. So pava trigger valuation. Valuation inomboitirwei chekutanga. The reason toda kuti in case exam razoya rakatwisa zvandisina kumbobvira ndaona. Ndizvoka kana ndiine the why of valuation, I can answer anything. Mukubabate here Tim. So ma-mergers and acquisition aya ekuvharai ku-CTA neku-IAC team maingovharwa nema-investment ratios aya. Because wari iri kuna shareholder kuti vaka-acquire another business hapaitike here dilution of control. Saka ndoda kutsvaga earnings per share. Tichatenga sei? Necash here. Tikatenga necash hatisi kubhorowa imwe cash here. Gearing yangu ichaita sei? Ndizvoka? Then what will be our price earnings G ratio? Tapet, dividend yield, return yangu. Hello. But vanhu vanoswera vachida unokrema exchange ratio. Kune exchange ratio ukati, which is not even relevant. Uchiona ucalculate exchange ratio unongopiwa one principal mark. But do you have an understanding and an appreciation of the why of doing something? That's key. That's the most important thing. I think tataura zvakawanda. Handiti Tim, any questions, comments, then we end the session now. Courage, you can start before, as we wait for their questions, as we conclude.
I think it's a high time, people need to take this thing without the adrenaline, and examine that adrenaline. People are too much afraid. People want to beat poverty, people want to go abroad, people want to qualify, but don't overload this exam. Take it as a professional setup where you are expected to add value on the board. Simple like that. Other things will overload this exam and will trigger your adrenaline. You stop thinking because you think you've failed. You think you've not achieved 1, 2, 3. So take a step back, apply your mind. Take these things from the simple roots and show your thought process. Don't jump to the answer. So like what Chris was saying, coverage is simple. What has been stated in the email, did you cover everything? Now, when you're articulating your issue, did you state the why? You need to understand your why. Depending on whom you are addressing to, you then need to upgrade your technical prowess, such that whoever you're telling knows why you're telling them what. Simple like that. So don't overload this exam. I can repeat that. And make sure your thought process is clear. Don't jump to the answer. I think I can rest here. We give it to the floor because these are the people.
One of my lecturers used to say, take an exam like a Sunday. Sunday is in lazy day. So relax. And team. Then don't put your pressure. Satango to calculate ndikafoira team. This one, it's an advice from what I used to do. Inini pandaipinda muexam why I failed APC kwekutanga. Ndandine fear kuti kumana ndakuzikanwa ndaticha manje ndikazofoira ndozoti ndichadzokorodza pane rimwe gore kuzoti iDecember yenext year. Tunhu twese ichoto ngatubve team. Just take easy. Ndizvo. Just take it
but they
easy.
don't want to learn.
Ndinoticha kuti akufana ndikafoira ndikazoti saka yatova imwe 900 futika. So please usazvipe pressure. Then another thing, team, answer ininda answer question yes, A, B, C, D, E, F. Ndakabva kuya kwekuti ndaida kutsvaga iri easy, team. We are going to answer all the questions, come what may. Mukubabate here, team. All the questions achapindura. So please, zviri easy. Ingotongoti your coverage, wobva watongopinda mudepth ipapo. Point yawabata, if watongoiti the coverage, wobva wati the depth, wobva wati chi chawabata. Any ask yawatopindura. Kuti chawabata waita sei? Wabata. Then zvasara, team. Apana pauchaita macompetent ese, but make sure at least waita coverage and chi depth. But please never make a mistake. Yekusa identify my asks. Mapabate here, team. Don't miss my asks. Identify all the asks.
Identify all my asks. One thing that helped me, I would repeat the email. Following your request, you asked me to do 1, 2, 3 as is. Then I know I've included everything. Now, paragraph now that all the issues exactly. Then I now
Mapabate manyasonzise hezvataurwa naCourage. Pauri kunyora email yako paya, kutotanga nekunonyora all the questions. Awapika kuti auda chakati wati ndikureview, ndo advisor, ndo commenter, ndoita chakati etc. Yes. I will never forget about those things. Saka ndo responda. Ndizvo andinototanga kunyora. Hakuna negative marking. That's another key thing.
Unless
wanyora zvisiri ethical. Unethical kupa unethical advice. So, but hakuna negative marking, team. I think we've done justice, courage. Team, all the best. Vane pre-release yavo mangwana. Makuziva zvekutsaga. Ndizvoka. I'm happy to see Courage. Ndine vanhu vangu vandakabva navo from high school. I can see Vana Felistars. I can see all of you. They were my high school students. I'm a proud teacher. Fela, I think it was 2015. Confirm, Fela. It was my 2015 stream. Of you, it was my 2012 or 2013 stream. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see a liar foot 2012 stream. Yeah, my high school students when I was still a high school teacher. Yeah. All right. So, team,
you have made an impact.
Yeah. Zvinobatika izvi. Chakaoma kuoma kwacho. Ndizvo. So please. Yes, chakatooma kuoma kwacho. So please don't be afraid. Please kugroup rako apa handikwanise kukuudzirai, but uchazviona kuti kugroup hazvirambidzwe next time. For now, muchisina time. But kuchinja group haizi mhosva. Kuona kuti vanhu vandiri kuverenga navo havasi kuda kuresearch nekuparticipate. Mukanyatsochiita mese chaizvo, team. It's not a sin.
It's not.
Team, let's be serious.
Because you're at different stages in life and you're chasing different goals. So you don't need to.
Tobhadhara futi, don't worry. Iwo kuziva kuti ndiri kufanira kutanga kuiunganidza. Saka hizi mhosva kutiza vanhu vasiri serious.
I would say be jealous about your time. It must not be wasted. Be jealous. Study jealous. Be sure of your why.
Yeah, true. So, team, all the best tomorrow as you start your pre-release. Please rest today. Hakuna chekuverenga. Tichaverenga zvatrigwa. Hatirarire tichiverenga. Tiritezere. Patinozokutenderai kuda kumbongoitawo go back to the basic technical. Kana wagara usiri mufield isiri technical. Ndokutendera uzongochidzokero paYouTube pedu chinonoma ifris 16, ifris 9, just kune matopic aya anowanzova ari maconsolidation yo etc. And mostly vanotora zviri kutrenda kuti mavaluation, uchiona kazhinji mavaluations, malisis, my consolidation etc, they are highly tested at APC. Nekuda kwekuti vanoda zviri practical, what's happening currently in the industry. Ndizvoka mukatarisa of late malisis anga achitrend, mawet lists courage. When pandakaenda kuwinter school ndakazosekesa vanhu takwira kandege, it's Zimbabwe everything, but mapilots vese vaiva makenyans. Ndikati this is a wet list in practice. So the other guys vakaqualify kudhara vati chiko chinonzi wet list. Ndikati no, mira tikuudze isusu what a wet, this is a wet list iri kuitwa neZimbabwe. So sometimes you have to apply team. And is any questions before we close? Just one or two? Question, advice before we close. Any questions? I don't see any hands.
Yeah, I assume they are happy, and
I think
yeah,
they are happy.
wish you all the best, you guys.
Wish you all the best, team. Good night. Tomorrow you got this. You'll be ready. Please don't panic. Take it like a Sunday, like what I've said.
It's
Good
a
night.
cake. Just enjoy the cake.